Good evening, all you creatures of the night. A young boy's parents are headed out in the town for the evening. They hire their trusted and faithful babysitter to come over and watch their son on this cold winter's night. But what they don't know is that their young son also happens to have a crush on his high school babysitter, and tonight he plans to tell her. With the two alone, the young man plans to make his move, yet he isn't the only person invited to this party. A knock sounds at the door, a brick smashes through the window. What was planned to be an unforgettable evening of expression is now an unforgettable evening of blood, knives, and screams. This is... It Records. Thank you one and all for joining us. I'm Matt Johnson, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast.
Are you a robot?
In that moment, yes, I was.
Very convincing.
I was just
you're
booting
almost
up for the podcast.
Like you're very like the robot dance there for a second.
Yeah, it felt right. It just... Thank you. Yeah. I've been working on it.
Did you practice in front of a mirror?
Yeah, this one right next to me, actually. Before we got on the call, I was just, all right, perfect.
Like, all right, I gotta nail it, you guys.
You're gonna nail it. Have confidence in yourself.
You talking to me?
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone who's listening out there, as well as Pete and Lindsay, as always, our fantastic co-hosts. And I'm a co-host as well. That wasn't implying that I'm a host by myself.
Thanks, Matt.
We are all co-hosts of the podcast. Yeah, just a rousing introduction.
The true host is that beast from Futurama that controls everyone.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
The true hosts are our pets
Sure, yeah. I
that make special appearances now and then.
yeah.
You just don't know because they're silent, but they're there.
That's true. But they're just wandering around. But before we kind of get into the movie for today, which was talked about in the crawl, I was just kind of curious. It's been a minute since we've recorded, and I was just curious
It's true.
what you guys have been watching recently. Like what, and really the horror genre, but in general, what has been catching your fancy that you've been watching?
Well, I honestly haven't been watching horror movies, but I did see Neighbors for the first time, finally. And Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, so,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, they were better than I thought.
I do like
especially
those
the first
movies.
one.
I
So
like
yeah,
them.
that's like
I've
the
seen them both as
latest
well.
movies that I've watched, I guess. So nothing really horror, so I was glad to kind of get back into this element. But yeah, I was excited that Peter picked this one. But what about you guys?
Pete, go ahead.
I haven't watched too many horror movies, but the ones that I have watched, I've watched Midsummer for the first time.
Nice.
In the Tall Grass. It's like a Netflix movie. Death Becomes Her is kind of horror-ish, I guess. And like Ma. I like rented that on like Redbox like a while back. All pretty mediocre. I am not a fan of Midsummer. I also did not like Hereditary. So I think I just don't like that director.
It's Ari Aster, right? Is that who it is?
Yeah. So it gets me mad because like I think the acting is really good in his movies and the cinematography is really good, but I just don't like the movies. And like there's not many horror movies that have like they're like, oh, if it looks cool, I usually like it. If there's good acting, I usually like it. And there's two components I really like about it, and I'm like, I still don't like them.
Interesting. Hey,
I think it just like I don't know. It feels like so
Not
rehashed
original enough.
of like what I've seen. That it just yeah. I mean, like I'm not really like that kind of person, really, because like I'm all for remakes. But I don't know. I think this like the praise that he's getting is like unwarranted in my opinion. Like he's just like, oh, he's just like brilliant guy doing crazy stuff in horror. I'm just like, not really. He's just like has a good camera and like really good. You know, getting someone who's good at acting is obviously harder to do in a horror movie, but I don't know. I feel like they're giving him a little too much praise where it more like falls on the actors. Like I would like give a huge shout out to Toni Collette for Hereditary because her performance in that was amazing.
Now, mentioning that about Ari Aster, you're saying he gets more credit than like, you know, I agree. Like Hereditary, Midsommar are like, you know, praised as these great new movies in the horror genre. I'm just curious how you would compare him to Robert Eggers. Like, I feel like he gets a lot of hype right now, and he did The Lighthouse and he did The Witch. Do you think he's like kind of in the same boat as Ari Aster? Because they're both very, I think, cinematically, like they shoot beautiful films. But
yes,
are you entertained by his movies in the same way?
I haven't seen both films by Robert Eggers. I've only seen The Witch, which I really liked. It's a lot harder to watch. I think Ari Aster's movies are more approachable for mainstream audiences than Robert Eggers are. They're like weird. They're like a weird kind of like middle ground where it's like maybe even like I don't even know. Maybe like a step above indie, but not quite like not big budget and not like middle of the road. It's just like these are really good movies that acting look beautiful, and it's like hard to watch because they're like intense or like maybe cringy even for not like cringy in a bad way, but just was like, oh, this is like makes me uncomfortable.
It holds that tension the whole time. It's got a good
and I would say
holds a good atmosphere
they probably
in his films.
Yeah, they probably are very easy to put in the same boat because I've heard like I feel like for mainstream audiences, Robert Eggers is not going to do it for them. But I would give Robert Eggers more of an edge right now because I'm more interested in what he has to do, and I'm interested in what The Lighthouse is about, and I like literally know nothing besides that. It's like in black and white, and Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe are in it. That's like all I really know.
As for me, I haven't been too much into the horror genre this past month or so with it being Christmas and everything. I watched a lot of Christmas films. Saw A Wonderful Life in theaters for the first time ever, and that was fun.
That's awesome.
To do.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a fun experience to go see that. I have seen Little Women. That's out.
I watched that too.
Little Women was good. The Irishman and Marriage Story, both Netflix movies, also both very good. I also watched for the third time this year. It's the only film I've watched 3 times this year, and the only film I saw twice in theaters. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh.
I watched that again recently.
That's worth the rewatches.
Haven't seen it.
You gotta see it.
That's it for the most part.
I know, and I like Tarantino too.
The Oscar ones in.
Yeah.
Are the nominations even up yet?
Not for the Oscars.
Like Golden Globes?
Oh, they just had the Golden Globes for this past Sunday.
Yeah. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah. Oh, I kind of have an idea. Yeah, based on the Golden Globes, what ones are going to be nominated, and I kind of want to watch those. Mm-hmm. Which I still want to see 1917, which will probably be one of my next ones on my list.
Yeah, I do want to see that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
what about TV shows?
TV shows.
Any of you?
I haven't been watching TV. I can't think of a show I've been watching, but I have been told I need to watch Modern Family. I was just given like the first 4 seasons on DVD, so I'm guessing that's the next show that I'll be watching.
What a random, like, recommendation.
My dad loves that show. Like, loves it.
I feel like it's a real parents show.
But it's funny. It's, like, legitimately funny.
Yeah. So, I've seen, like, episodes here and there. Like, on TV. USA, I think, plays them all the time. But never watched a full season or anything, so I'll get the story now. hopefully I can make it through this whole show. One of the last times somebody actually gave me a DVD set of a show to watch was Dawson's Creek.
You're speaking to my heart.
Yeah. And that took a
Never watched an episode.
Yeah, I hadn't until I got that DVD set, and I had to. It was a long process. It was a long process to get through this show. Yeah.
Like, you didn't like it, or you just didn't have the time?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of episodes, but it took a while for me to like gain an interest, I guess. So I had to like sit through a lot of stuff that I wasn't really interested in, and then you get ingrained in the story. And even though it might not be your cup of tea, I gotta know how it ends. I know, I know the story now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to mention, since it's the horror podcast, none of us said we saw Black Christmas. Is that correct? None of us have seen the remake?
I'm not going to.
No.
I'm not going to. See, I'm in that boat too. I've only
Yeah,
heard bad
I feel
things.
like it is. I feel like it bombed. I think it didn't do well at all.
And I heard, I mean, it's PG-13, so you can kind of guess the violence level, but I heard a lot in the movie, any sort of like violence kind of takes place off camera. So you don't really see like, brutal deaths and stabbings and things like that. It's a lot of jump scares. So, but I guess was the original R? No,
thought so.
it couldn't have been, right? Because it was it? I don't think R existed, but it would have been. Like,
no, R existed. PG-13 didn't exist.
Okay, that's it.
So it was either PG or it was R. Yeah, it's fucking crazy that that exists.
Yeah. Well, cool. So none of us have seen Black Christmas on this horror podcast, and I think all of us have said we're not going to.
That's right.
Well, we've seen the original.
The one that matters.
I've seen exactly. But speaking of Black Christmas, that is a Christmas holiday horror film.
It is.
That is what we also did for this episode tonight. We watched a Christmas horror movie called Better Watch Out, an Australian-American... it's a horror film. I don't know what subgenre it falls into, but came out in 2016. Better Watch Out.
Want to put her in the mood? Watch a horror movie. Dude, she's like twice our age. I really don't think it's gonna happen. She's here.
You are breathtaking.
Thank you. Now don't stay up and watch scary movies, okay? It'll give you nightmares again.
So what do you want to do?
Ricky, why can't you just leave me alone?
He's such a jerk.
Don't hang up on me.
What was that?
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Get away from the window.
There's someone there.
Ashley! Are you hiding? I'll find you.
Don't worry, I'll protect you. This is exciting.
What are you doing, man? Please let me out of this.
You're fucking home alone again? Lighten the fuck up.
Crazy fuck!
Why can't exes just go away?
Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
It's directed by Chris Peckover, I believe is his name, and I think he only has one other credit to his name. I had never seen anything by Chris Peckover prior to this.
Neither did I.
This is the only movie I've seen by him.
And for those who have never heard of Better Watch Out, just real quick, it really follows what I said in the opening monologue or whatever. It's a quiet suburban street. A babysitter is babysitting this 12-year-old boy who she babysits quite often, and he does have like a crush on her, and that's kind of the setup for the movie. Is he with his friend he's gonna make a move on her tonight apparently, and what happens is the babysitter then has to defend this 12-year-old boy from would-be intruders, only to discover that what these intruders are is far from your normal home invasion. That's, without going into spoilers, it kind of sets itself up like there's a home invasion of this babysitter watching this 12-year-old boy at his house. Had anybody seen this movie prior to this viewing?
I did not.
I have.
You had. Okay. First time for me as well.
I think I saw it last year for the first time. I think it was around Christmas time again.
Yeah.
My friend was really like campaigning for it. He's just like, you guys gotta watch this movie. It's really good. Hence, I watched it.
Yeah.
I feel like so. Would you go into the second part of the plot right now?
Sure, we can go on.
Give you? Did you?
I'll give a little more synopsis of like the setup.
Are we doing spoilers?
I think once we get there, we can.
We always do, pretty much.
I feel like you have to or we can be as vague as possible, but it's kind of you have to do it with this one.
I mean, we spoiled Us, and we did Us.
That's true.
While it was in theaters.
That's true. This movie's been out.
They've had time
For a couple of years. Yep.
Okay.
So the start of the movie is where it's a 12-year-old boy, I believe his name is Luke, and his friend Garrett it's an evening, it's a winter evening at home, and Luke's parents are going out for the night, and Ashley is going to be the babysitter. She's 5 years older than Luke. She's coming, we see her in a car, and she's coming to the house to, babysit Luke for the night. Luke has a crush on Ashley. That's like right out of the get-go. Meeting Luke is like, he really likes her, and he wants to make his move tonight, kind of tell her that he likes her or whatever. So she comes over, and it's pretty standard at that point, where it's him trying to act cool. I just feel like where he like pops a bottle of champagne. It's like, I drink all the time, and he's kind of annoyed with him. And she's like, that's not cool. And they start watching a horror movie, and there's several different jump scares, like the phone ringing, a spider crawling across the table. That kind of sets something up that, something's off. So it kind of gives you that uneasy feeling from the beginning, but all plot-wise is that now the babysitter's alone with Luke, and he's going to try to tell her that he likes her. Which is really, I think, that's Act 1, before Act 2 kind of kicks in. And the action. And Puddy is in this film, from Seinfeld. He's the dad.
Just a clarification, he is in this movie.
He is. I saw it on the forums and Twitter. They were asking about it. Yeah, he's in this.
No more grease monkey.
I don't care for that term.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
I don't know too many monkeys who could take apart a fuel injector.
I saw one once that could do sign language.
Yeah, I saw that one. Coco.
Yeah, Coco.
Right, Coco. A chimp's all right. High five.
Is that a new segment we're doing if Puddy is in this movie or not?
Sure, yeah. Patrick Warburton, I think his name is. Yeah, is Patrick Warburton in this film? If we do Scream 3, the answer is yes. So it could happen.
Hey, there's hope.
Yeah.
I would say in the beginning of this movie, it kind of feels like by the numbers, kind of like slasher holiday movie. Like, you kind of just like, oh, okay, like I've seen this movie a lot. Then like, I feel like once like they do like the scares of like the home invasion pretty well, like them trying to hide in the closet and just like them like just like going upstairs. Like I thought they did all that like very well. I was pretty scared, and then like you kind of like said earlier, like something's off in this movie, and it starts to unfold even more. That, you know, spoiler. This was an orchestrated plot to get the girl to like him even more by kidnapping her. I don't know. It's fucking weird. He's a weird, fucked up dude. He watches too many head beheadings videos on YouTube or something. I don't know. He's a fucking, 4chan, Infinity Chan kind of guy, probably.
I feel like his whole plan was, and I don't know how it was going to work out, was fake the kidnapping or fake a burglary, home invasion, so that he's the protector. Because he started to act like that when he grabbed the gun.
Right.
And was like, I got this. I'll protect you. So that she would like fall into his arms and be like, oh, my hero. Which is like a 12-year-old thought process. This will work.
She'll be my wife.
Yeah. This is how it happens.
I really... and then, like... Actually, I think that's probably later. That's Lindsay's part. Yeah, that's a big bulk of 2. Is just, like, that unraveling in itself.
Yeah, that's, like, the first major twist of the movie, I feel like. You think it's a home invasion, which it is, but it turns out, I mean, spoilers, just so you know.
It's like their friend. It's his friend.
Exactly. It's his friend Garrett. And the babysitter, Ashley, she figured it out and was, like, super pissed off about it. That they had plotted this whole thing.
Right, because the friend was wearing the boys, I forgot his name already. Was it Luke?
Garrett.
Luke and Garrett.
Oh, which one?
Okay.
Yeah, Luke.
So Garrett was wearing Luke's mask, and she recognizes it while they're hiding in the closet from this home invader, and she gets really pissed, understandably. And, that's when this whole thing is revealed. And that's when things start getting even weirder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Take it away. Tell us what's weird.
All right, let's see. If I miss anything, let me know, and we'll cover it. But basically, like, it's revealed that this 12-year-old is like a psycho with frequent mood swings, and they tie her. Oh, he slaps her. She falls down the stairs, and that renders her unconscious. And then when she wakes up, she is strapped to a chair and has duct tape over her mouth. It took a sharp turn. What does he do? He gets crazy. And, like, that's what I couldn't figure out is, like, why is he so crazy? Like, what made him be this way? That's not really delved into as far as, character development. But yeah, he starts, he invited her boyfriend over. What do they do? Yeah, so the boyfriend comes over, and then he, manages to strap him to a chair as well after some tumblings between the two. Knocked him unconscious, and then when he wakes up, he's strapped to a chair right next to Ashley. And the boyfriend's name is Ricky. And then this is, what broke my heart, watching... There's a lot of heartbreaking things happen in this movie, but he kind of reenacts the Home Alone, scene from where they are trying to see how far a paint can go or something to try to right. So he actually ends up killing Ricky doing that, and that was really sad. Yeah. Watching. Ashley's reaction, and I think Garrett was pretty surprised. So yeah, and I'm like, well, okay, like, there's no going back from that. And then he invites Luke invites the ex-boyfriend of Ashley over, and tricks him, and he ends up dead too, because he like has him sitting on this swing, and then Luke has like the string tied to this lawnmower, like a riding lawnmower, and then like starts driving in the opposite direction, and so yeah, now we've got a body count of 2, and I think Ashley is able to like free herself from this chair with a shard of glass, and that by that point, she almost gets away, like she escapes, but then she doesn't, and then they bring her back, and she's tied up again, and I think this is when Luke actually stabs her with a knife, like kind of on her right side of her neck, and so we're left to think that she's dead too. And excuse me, I jumped ahead. He killed his best friend too. Yeah. Let's just not forget that. He shot
throw that out there.
So yeah, like I don't know. There were just a lot of moments, like every person's death I felt very, very sad about. And my jaw just like, I couldn't pick it up off the floor, like during all of those. One thing though, they don't really show a lot of the violence on camera. So I didn't really like that, but we can get more into, stylistics later. But yeah, so, we think that everybody's dead. His parents come home. He's, tucked in. And everybody, there's a crime scene in the house when they come back, and I just want to know, like, who they thought actually did it. Like, did they really think that it was a home invasion? But anyway, the parents come home. They're obviously distraught. They go find the son. And then that's when they hear that there's one survivor, and it is Ashley. And to everybody in the audience's cheer, I'm sure. But as they're, like, rolling her away on her stretcher to the ambulance, she, like, makes eye contact with him from up in his room at the window, and she gives him the finger. And so we're kind of, we're left to think, okay, like, he's gonna get, what's coming to him, but, we don't know that for sure. So that's where the movie ends.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lindsay.
It's long-winded.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good. And I had several things that I wanted to talk about, because I feel like that part of the movie is the craziest and, like, really takes a turn from what you thought it was going to be. But since you just mentioned the ending where she's the survivor and he didn't know, like, because she put duct tape on her neck where he stabbed her, and which is a callback to him saying duct tape, 1,000 ways to use it, and he was tying her up.
Good catch.
But she gives him the middle finger, and I think it's meant to imply that, he's going to be caught. But I had the feeling that, oh shit, he might kill her in the hospital.
Exactly.
Like, people are going to believe this little 12-year-old, and he, until she tells somebody, he could kill her in the hospital and he'd still get away with it.
Yeah. My thoughts too. Which kind of brings me to, did you guys like that ending? Were you satisfied with that?
Yes. Yes, I did.
I liked it. I liked that she's like the final girl, like in a slasher. It wasn't a slasher, but the final girl survives. Even though the body count was only, like, it was 3 people in the end. Only a 3-person body count.
Yes, but each one hurt.
It did. Yeah, and that's a testament to, like, the writing or the acting, that, like, each death was, like, very, I don't know, impactful. Yeah. It was very
and it feels brutal. It feels brutal, too.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I want justice to be served.
Yes, that's what I wanted at the end. That was my one critique of the ending. Is like, yeah, she gave the middle finger, but I wanted a cop to come in and be like, swarm, swarm. She told us it was him, and then it's like, take him down.
Yes.
And it's like 12-year-old, and then you just see him like
Sequel,
struggling.
baby. Make a sequel. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I could see it in the opening credits. Is like her in the hospital, and it's him coming and like unplugging her, whatever, and it's like beep beep.
What would you
beep,
call
and then
it?
he walks out.
So instead of Better Watch Out 2, I would say Better Not Cry.
That's good. Yeah, that'd be a good sequel.
But I mean, seriously, like I really would have liked to see him get what was coming to him, because this kid was so insufferable. Like, there was just nothing good about him.
He's good at
Being
just
hateable.
making you hate him. He's a good He's a good actor, and I was like, and I think he like switched, like in it. Like I felt like he was really good at just doing those dual roles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Insufferable is a great word, and that's a testament to his acting, because I was so annoyed with him.
Yeah.
Like, so many instances. Ugh.
Yeah, you hate him. He's
He's
a
disgusting.
bastard.
But I did enjoy Ashley's character. I thought, she always seemed pretty strong-willed throughout the whole thing. Like, even though she was tied up, and, like, he, this is what he wanted, I never felt that, like, he was in total control. Like, he was, calling the boyfriend over, but I always felt that she wasn't like, I'm giving up. I always felt like she was so pissed off at him, and was like, I'm going to tell your parents, you're going to be in so much trouble, like, the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't take him, even though, like, she's in a really shitty situation. She's like, you're fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I really sympathized for her. I think it was easy for me to relate to her, so I liked her the most. And I, like Matt said, I think she did a good job trying to take the control back, and I thought she was a really strong, solid character throughout all the horrible shit that was happening to her, at the behest of this kid. And I love the fact that she survived in the end, like, with the good triumphing evil.
And you said you liked her, then I would pose a question to you too. Did you have a favorite character of because there's Garrett and Luke, the two villains, if you will. I won't say if Garrett is or not, but the babysitter, the two boyfriends, and then his parents, who are only in it at the beginning and the end. So it's a pretty small cast. Did anybody particularly stand out to you?
Yeah, I feel like I said Ashley, so you guys take it away.
Okay. Yeah.
I think, it's Ashley, but I think, like, they're both really good actors, and they're, like, it's really cool seeing, like, these two young actors, like, carry this horror movie throughout the whole time, and I don't know, it's just really impressive to watch, honestly.
Yeah. And as you guys mentioned, and Ashley's really young, Luke is young, and they kind of carry that dynamic, but like they carry the movie, like that dynamic between those two, they keep the whole plot moving. But then I would throw just a twist in. I would say I enjoy Garrett's character. I watched this movie twice. The first time I was like super annoyed with Garrett because I felt like he was like manipulated the whole time. Which he was, and I was like just annoyed with him, like from the onset when he was taking Oxy or whatever, and like trying to like zone it out, and became like really loopy. But the second time through, he does seem like, Ashley's really strong-willed, and then Luke's like psychotic. He seems like the most human maybe in that situation, where like, if that happened to some extent, like he's like the audience of like, well, Luke's my friend, but then like he does try to let Ashley go later, and he's like really conflicted about it. He's like the audience is going through the whole time, back and forth between Luke and Ashley, which is what we're supposed to do. So I felt more for him, I guess mainly because he was killed. I think if he wasn't killed, I would have hated him a lot, but he was killed, and it makes me sympathize with him more. Because he calls out for his mom. Like, come on. That hurt.
Yeah. It was good.
And then, I have another question for you guys. We kind of talked, there was the twist where it's not a real home invasion, and then it becomes the twist where it's like, well, now I'm holding you captive, and I'm going to call your boyfriends over. Did you guys like the twist? Either one, that it was like not a home invasion, and then it became this like hostage situation. Did you enjoy it? Did you think it worked for the film? Just kind of overall thoughts.
I was super into it. I think it made the film very interesting. I kind of almost made it seem like a movie I'd never really seen before. I would say, like, I've seen home invasion movies, not a whole lot, but like I've seen a good number of them, and I feel like it like kind of like changed the formula enough to where like it made it really interesting to me.
Yeah, I really did think that it was going to commit to that home invasion route, and that we've seen movies like that, a dime a dozen before. And while I was glad that it went in a different way than I was expecting, I hated the kids so much, and I know we were supposed to, so that was successful. And I was really, like I said, like very genuinely sad and shocked by not only like the characters' deaths, but how they happened. I couldn't believe that a 12-year-old was like this, and where did it all come from? And so yeah, I was very entertained by this movie, and the way it went. So yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think definitely on like the first viewing. I mean, I didn't watch the trailer. I saw that brief synopsis of a home invasion, and I didn't want to watch the trailer on purpose, just to kind of go in fresh. And I think if you go in like that, it is a really satisfying movie. I don't think the twist, if you don't think about it too much, it's engaging, it's fresh. I feel like, because first you realize it's not a home invasion, or for me it just made me think. I guess like I at first thought, oh, it's the parents. Like the parents are these home invaders, and okay, so why are they doing it? And then it's Garrett. But I didn't think at first Garrett was in on it with Luke, and then he is on it with Luke. And then Ashley gets slapped down the stairs, and I go, oh shit, they killed her. Now what are they gonna do? No, it's not that. It's she's fine. Now we're holding her kidnapped. And then Luke has this whole plan of like bringing the boyfriends over and offing them one by one. So it just kind of keeps going and like building on itself. That it didn't just have one twist and it ended. It kind of kept packing different little nuggets of suspense into it. So it's definitely a fun ride the first time through. Where the second time I was looking for other things. The first time through it's super fun to watch.
Yeah. I guess, What do you think like he was trying to accomplish? Like, the whole plan, like, with the whole fake invasion thing didn't work, so why do you think, do you think he was planning the whole time on, killing everybody?
I don't.
I think he's just, like, a sociopath, where he just, like, feels no remorse, and, like, he, like, lost control of the situation, and was trying to gain control by doing these things, and like it deviated from the plan that he had, because he planned it out very meticulously, and since he like lost control, he didn't know where he was going, which is why I feel like it spiraled so out of control. And like Matt was saying, like it just kept building, because it's like this, he's a kid, he doesn't know like really like how to process all this shit that's going on, and like not really realizing like the results of his crazy actions, because there's obviously something wrong with him.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think the first time through, I thought that was like the whole plan, and then I watched it again, and it's like I think he definitely, he had the home invasion thing planned, of course, and he wanted her to like him or like think he was her hero, but if that didn't work out, like it didn't. Like Garrett was found out he had, what was it? He had some drug that was like, was it a roofie or something? It was the liquid and like the eye drops that he had, where he was going to make her drink the vodka so she'd lose lose the memory of like the last few hours, so she'd be like confused. And I think that was like his plan B if she figured out about the home invasion, which it did. But she broke the bottle of vodka that had all that in it on the floor, and he was like, fuck, that was plan B. And then, as Pete was saying, it kind of spiraled out of control. Like, he didn't know how to process what was going on, because he's very meticulous, and he needed everything to go his way, and when it didn't, he went to the extreme. Like, he went really far with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I wanted to pose... We've kind of talked about how this is a home invasion, or it starts that way, and kind of spirals in all these different directions. It's kind of curious, what horror subgenre would you guys put this in? I've seen it labeled as psychological horror online. I've seen it as, like, comedy horror. But I didn't know where you guys kind of felt this would... where it falls.
I really wouldn't put it in a comedy. Like, even though it's got some kind of punchy dialogue a little bit here and there, I would say it's more of a... No, I would say psychological thriller. I agree with. That's what I would kind of put it in.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you think, that it's going to start as a home invasion, but then it takes that sharp turn into more of a thriller, and I think it's a mix of a few things. The crime, thriller, psychological horror. Definitely not a black comedy, as I've seen some articles call it. I don't think I agree with that at all. I think it's just a psychological thriller that happens to be taking place around Christmas time.
I'd agree with both of that. Like, it's the psychological thriller, or at the most, like, holiday horror because it's Christmas. But I did see, like, comedy everywhere, and I just feel like there's some moments of it, but not like, it's not like The Burbs or something where it's like, or ones that are like very like slapstick horror, like meant to be like campy almost. But I think what really makes this, like, if anything, like comedy horror is, I feel like the music that was chosen in certain scenes, like, are very oddly placed, so that it's like you would think it'd be more like they'd have a score for this movie, but it's like different styles of Christmas music that are off kilter from what you're seeing on the screen, which makes you think funny.
I was going to ask you guys what you thought about the music placement. I thought it was a little odd.
Yeah,
I liked the juxtaposition. It just made me more of a fan of the movie.
I think it gives it the character that why people are attracted to it. I think if it was like an ominous score, like, what they have for Halloween or something, you take the movie as like this scary, larger than life type of horror movie, which isn't the vibe it gives off. And like putting in like at Christmas songs, like jazzy Christmas songs, when he's like cleaning up the house, like when he's cleaning up all the bodies, and they got that like rocky Christmas song going, and he's like risky business dancing through the house. It's definitely, it's Pete said, it's juxtaposition. So like instead of it being like this serious scene, it's like kind of, it's got that, I don't know, uncanny element to it, maybe is the word for it.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like if you would consider it a comedy, there'd be more moments of jokes. But there's really not that much. And like something like Get Out and Us like has moments where people genuinely laugh at it, but you don't call those movies comedies. Like, those are just like more horror, or like Get Out. It's probably more of a thriller than Us. Us is more of a horror movie than Get Out is.
Agree.
But there was that comedy with Puddy at the beginning with the mom, Virginia Madsen, by the way, who's in this one. Him in those ties, and his ornaments.
I think horror just has a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
In general, like, there's very few horror movies that are like that don't try to be funny. Like, Silence of the Lambs, I think, does not try to be funny at all. and it's like, I guess more thriller, like this one is, but like a different kind of thriller. I don't know. It's like I feel like not that many horror movies try to be straight, all scare, or serious.
That's true.
I think horror lends itself to comedy, just because it's meant to scare you or terrify you. That if you have a well-timed joke or a funny setup, like the payoff is so much more because people need that catharsis. Yeah. So it just seems
it hits
funny.
A lot harder.
Yeah.
Like the guy in Get Out, like his friend that's like
exactly
a TSA agent. Like I laughed my fucking ass off. And I saw that in theaters because I was like, just didn't expect it. I was like so tense the whole time, thinking that he was going to be fucked. And then this is his friend. I'm like, this is so funny.
He lightened the mood a little bit.
Mm-hmm. TS motherfucking A.
It was. I loved that part so much.
Yeah. Well, this movie has been, for the most part, I think, received well, critically at least. It wasn't in theaters or anything, but some negative reviews that I saw that I was hoping to get your guys' opinion on was some of them said that the movie lacked any real feeling or character development except for those few gotcha twists. The characters they felt were pretty stereotypical for the genre. They were like cookie-cutter characters. And the viewers could easily get bored with the antics of the characters. But what really kept the movie going was just the twists, which fall flat after after one or two twists. Would you guys agree with that at all? Does it have any truth to it? Any of the reviewers who think that some of these characters are pretty flat and stereotypical of the genre?
I could see what he's trying to say, and to me, that just kind of comes off as someone who doesn't like horror movies, kind of thing. Because you are just saying that you just don't like horror movies is really what he's saying to me.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he said it. He said it well. I have nothing more to add.
Yeah. That one, because most of these, I think it's like 80s on Rotten Tomatoes, and most reviews I heard, it's pretty good critical reception, but a few were lingering out there because not 100%. One of them was Roger Ebert, and it's not him, but it's the website that gave it a really low score, a 1 star. Out of yeah.
That's harsh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for the most part, I think it was well received critically. Which, I guess, talking about critical reception, we do the budget box office. Does anybody happen to know any of those numbers? It was a critical success, but...
the box office was real low, because you said it didn't go into theaters, really.
Yeah.
All the money it made was, rentals.
Yeah. Or I think it's a Shudder exclusive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice right now. God, I don't know what happened.
It's fine. It's fine. But I don't know what the budget was, but I know the box office was $100,000.
Yeah, it's
super low.
And I hope it made it got a lot of viewership on Shudder, or because it's not rocket science. I like this movie. It made it very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This movie isn't easy to find. I know Shudder is a main. I watched it on Tubi. If you know.
I've heard of that.
Okay.
I've been hearing about that lately. It's a streaming service,
guess.
right?
I bought, I have a smart TV, and it was just on it, so that's how I found it. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah, wherever you can find it. and you can rent it probably anywhere, but it's also on Shudder if you have it. Shudder if you have a subscription there. So you mentioned, Lindsay, the Home Alone paint can scene.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they referenced that earlier in the movie. That Garrett Garrett just believes it would knock them back like in the movie, so Luke does it and it kills Ricky. That was something Chris Peckover wanted to instill as like a Home Alone vibe and like a lot of John Hughes references. Was something I heard about it. Like the spiders are meant to be a Home Alone reference too, that are in the house, like the tarantula in Home Alone.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The
Which
Christmas
were real.
carols,
The
too.
one at least. Oh yeah. But yeah, that spider was real when
But
she
I
fell out of
just
the
want
attic.
to say,
So, because he asked the studio, what was it? If he could CGI it, and they gave him the price, and he was like, "Nah, we don't have the budget for that. I can't. We'll get a real spider."
I just
Bada
It's
bing,
weird
bada
that
boom.
they wanted to CGI a spider. What were you gonna say, Lindsay?
Speaking of John Hughes references, I need to point out that, like, okay, a lot of, like, John Hughes's characters were very imperfect, you know. Ferris Bueller, you know, I used to think, like, he was awesome, and then, like, I grew up, and I actually kind of realized he was kind of a jerk. But he still had, like, some redeemable qualities, you know, so, and, like, John Bender, you know, Breakfast Club. But, you know, what this... I feel like I'm just kind of saying this a lot, but people need to know, this kid, like, had no redeeming qualities, so there's nothing, no, they don't have that in common. But yeah, so that's where the similarities end as far as, you know, the John Hughes callbacks.
Well, yeah, that's a great point about John Hughes' characters. But speaking of no redeemable qualities for him, there was the moment at the end where before he stabs Ashley, he says, you know, my mom stopped, like, laying with me or whatever at night. Like, she used to, like, sit in bed with me, and then she stopped all of a sudden. She never said why. To which Ashley responds in some variation of, I know exactly why she did. Now, and then she doesn't say anything else, and he's like, why? Why did she stop? Tell me. Why do you think Ashley did that? Or what do you think she meant by that? Why did the mom, you know, stop laying with him? Just kind of curious to your thoughts.
I think there's just, like, a way... I think she was just, like, trying to hurt him because, like, she lost two people that meant something in her life at some point, and he killed them. And then she probably has, like, a vague idea, you know? It's like, well, you're fucking 12, you know? Like, your mom doesn't need to do that for you anymore. You're not, like, 2.
Yeah.
I think it was just a way of trying to hurt him. She's just fucking mad.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't have a better answer than that either. that's not, like, I think she's really trying to piss him off, and that's why she didn't say anything after it.
Yeah.
Is because he got, like, really upset by it. But we talked a little bit about, like, John Hughes characters, and, you know, that's trivia of the film. Lindsay, do you have any other sort of background or trivia on?
Yeah, I really only have one, I guess. There wasn't much to find on this one.
Yeah.
But did you guys recognize the lead and what's her name? Ashley and Garrett from another movie that we did on this podcast a couple years ago?
No.
I recognized him, but I didn't know from where. And I didn't recognize her until after the movie. But now I know.
Yeah, so they starred as siblings in The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, wow. I'm actually kind of surprised right now.
I didn't know that either. I forgot.
He had a very familiar face or look, and I was like, where have I seen this kid before? So I looked him up.
Was he the rapping?
and-
He was the rapping kid.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little brother.
What? You're fucking. What? I'm like speechless right now.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like the
Yeah.
Visit. Visit's a good
I was a
movie.
fan.
Yeah, it was a good one, and they're back at it again.
Yeah, that's all I got for trivia, though. Really.
I had one. Now it's not really trivia, but it's just a piece of production that I heard. I listened to a bunch of podcasts and stuff on this movie. That Chris Peckover really wanted them to be 12 years old and get actors who were as close to that age as possible. Like the kids are like I think 14 in real life or like 13, but they could pass off as 12. And the studio was like really not about it. It took him a lot of like convincing, and that was like the one thing that he stood for. Is like, no, they need to be 12 in order for this to work. They didn't want it to be like The Boyfriend, like in Scream or something, where it's like the same age. He wanted it to be like these kids and make it really dark. So he had to really fight for that, and then he wanted the actors to be close to that age.
Yeah, it's always very obvious when somebody is like 10 years older than the character they're playing. And, you know, I think it's good that he stuck to his guns with that one.
And this can go on the podcast or not, but I thought it was an interesting tidbit, is a lot of times in movies, people play a role that they're much older than. Like people, like you got to play a high schooler and you're like 24. Like that's pretty common.
That's 90210 in a nutshell. My favorite show.
Yeah, but there you go. And I know it. Yeah, exactly. The older people will play younger characters. I was curious if you had any examples of people where it's the opposite. Does that ever happen where someone who's younger plays older characters? Not all the time, but has played them. I got one. And it's
I feel like that happens to women a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're like probably in their like mid 30s and they're like playing a 40-year-old or something, like, you know. I feel like that happens to women a lot. I had one I could think of, Sunset Boulevard's one, where the woman is like way younger than what she's playing.
Yeah.
That's my one in my back pocket. Which one were you thinking of?
I was thinking of an actress, and I have two movies, is Jennifer Lawrence in like American Hustle, and Silver Linings Playbook. She's like our age. At least at that time, she was like early 20s. And
Yeah, she's young.
She was playing like Christian Bale's like 40-year-old wife in that movie, and like she was like 24 in that movie. They like made her much older than what she is.
Yeah, that's weird.
Or like in I don't know, what was she in? Oh, God bless it. What's the one? Darren Aronofsky's one with her. Mother. I was thinking Mama, but that's Del Toro. Thank you, Mother. She's married to Javier Bardem, right? And he's got to be like 50, and she's like 25,
yeah,
26.
She's literally like our age. I feel like she's maybe a year older.
It's very close.
Yeah, she's always supposed to be playing these older parts or dating these older men always. Anywho, that's a tidbit. That's a tangent.
Defend or destroy? Much to say besides that I defend it. You know, I've already explained all the reasons I like it. It's a good twist. It makes you think. You're like, oh, this is kind of like an ordinary movie. And you're like, oh, wait. No, it's not. This kid's pretty fucked up. And it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I found this movie very engrossing. You know, usually I'm on my phone when I'm watching movies, but I didn't feel the need to do that. I was very intrigued and obviously horrified. Despite that, thought it was well executed. Loved the twist, really didn't see it coming. And I thought the acting was really strong, so it's a defend for me.
And for me, I will start off, I won't bury the lead, I will defend this film. So that's a unanimous defend. But I really enjoyed it the first time through, had no idea what the film was, and it kept like twisting and turning and making you think and like trying to follow what was going on. So it was super entertaining. And then the second time, I found myself like looking for other things and even like trying to poke holes in it. Like, okay, maybe this doesn't add up, or they overlook this. And there are some here and there, very minor, and you'll get that in any horror movie. So like, I'm trying to nitpick something that isn't really there. And it was like good acting, it was original, it was fun, and it was quick. I mean, it was like an hour and 20-something minutes, and it never seemed like it was slow. It was like everything kept building from the beginning. So I defend it, and yeah, it's a good holiday horror. And Luke's squeaky voice was just added to it all. Yeah. But yeah, if there's nothing else, that's a unanimous defend from us here at the It Records podcast for Better Watch Out. As we mentioned, you can watch it on Shudder, Tubi, you can rent it, probably Google Play, wherever, Amazon Prime. You can find this movie if you want to check it out. Get to us on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know what you're thinking. Review any of our podcasts. So we might do a mini episode that you like or a full-length episode. But until next time, I am Matt Johnson, and I will remain in the shadows.
I'm Peter Hansen, and I got nothing. I don't have any catchy taglines from you.
I'm Lindsay Clark, and you might be home, but you're not alone.